I want to start with this idea of stranger danger, and the kids need to be wary of people they don't know. They should stay away from them. What impact, rather, do you think that has had on kids and parents?
You know, I think the seed of stranger danger was a good idea. It was a public health campaign in the 1980s designed to help kids who had been, very heavily parented in an obedience model, that just because an adult told you to do something, it didn't mean you had to do it. But 40 years later, mostly what we have is this rhyme, right? A stranger is dangerous. And I think two things about that. One, I think it creates a lot of fear and anxiety for both kids and parents to move through the world with this idea that any stranger is a potential danger to them and should be viewed with suspicion. But also, it's hard to talk about, but I think we have to. If something bad is going to happen to a child, 94% of the time, it's someone they know. And when we set up this idea for children, stranger bad, person you know, good, then if something bad happens with someone they know, it's harder for them to recognize that what happened was bad and get the help of an adult about it. It's confusing.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to be much more nuanced in how we talk to kids about both strangers and dangers.
So how do you get kids then to engage more with the outside world and people they don't know and still keep them safe?
I think it's really helpful for children to know what are the red flags so that it gives them sort of a zone of confidence to operate if those red flags aren't present, right? So, like, one thing that we talked about with our kids, we never said, don't talk to strangers. What we said was, never go anywhere with anyone you don't know unless we know about it and have approved. We also said, no one should ever ask you to keep a secret from us. That's a red flag. If someone says you can never tell your parents about this, immediately you should be concerned. Although I would like to say you should, as if you're a parent who's telling your kid this, make sure you also tell the grandparents and the aunties and uncles that this is the messaging, because otherwise Nana's going to take them for ice cream and say, don't tell your parents. And then you've got a 6-year-old in Baskin Robbins yelling, I don't keep secrets from my parents.
Right, exactly. So,
Right?
if this isn't something, though, that comes naturally to kids, how do you help them along?
Well, one thing I think you can do is make sure that periodically you take an opportunity to sign them up for an activity where they don't already know the kids or the teacher or the coach. Give them a week at a new summer camp or a few, a 6-week session of a new pottery class or something like that. I'm also a big fan, especially when they reach the sort of 5-year-old, 6-year-old, I'm a big kid, I want to do big kid stuff age. Let them order their own donut. Pull up in front of the pizza place and let them go in and pick up the takeout order, right? You're right there. If anything happens, which is so unlikely, you're there to help them. But at that age, they don't care if they're awkward. They're not self-conscious yet, mostly. And so they can get some practice in that time. And then when they reach the more self-conscious ages, they have, again, more confidence, which is what we want here.
Bear, so good to hear you as always. Thank you so much for taking the time. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Okay, you take care. That is S. Bear Bergman, the father of 3 and the author of Special Topics on Being a Parent, a queer and tender guide to things I've learned about parenting, mostly the hard way. He joins us occasionally to talk about parenting.